is your number 3?
The Bishop's Wife. Have you heard of it?
The original?
Yep.
Yes, I have heard of it.
Yep.
I've never seen it, but I have heard of it.
It is fantastic. It didn't. So people have a lot of mixed feelings on Cary Grant's portrayal.
Mm-hmm.
I love his portrayal strictly because of his, physical comedic acting.
Mm-hmm.
He's never had to force it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, in my opinion, makes the movie. He's never had to try. And, he could be a serious actor. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
made him a good actor, because he can blend the two. And, this was something I used to watch with my grandpa. This was our movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what makes it special to me. It's my number 3 because, I can see where people have problems with it. But, the fact that Cary Grant is in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
he's one of my favorite actors. So that's why it's my number 3.
He's not remembered as fondly as he should be, because he wasn't, everybody remembers him as just being like this smooth, cool, romantic lead, and certainly, especially like the Hitchcock movies.
Or the Philadelphia Story.
Right. But he was, watch Arsenic and Old Lace if you want to see like another side of Cary Grant that you didn't necessarily think he had in him. He was a really funny actor.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing too is that Bringing Up Baby.
Bringing Up Baby is another one.
Yeah,
yes.
He had a lot of depth to him, and that's not something he gets credit enough for.
Mm-hmm.
And that honestly makes me sad, because he's one of my grandpa's favorite actors, and that's where I feel like, where me and him can connect on, because yes, I love that he is an attractive guy, but I love that, he can be funny and he doesn't have to try. He can be serious, but then he can, fall flat on his face.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, he didn't have a problem making himself look like an idiot, which a lot of super pretty people do.
Yeah.
So, my number 3 would also be a classic and a little cliche, but It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What do you love about that one?
Well, I have a very fond memory of the first time I saw it. I was watching it, I was probably a teenager. I was watching it in my bedroom. Mm-hmm. My brother was watching it in his bedroom, and my parents were watching it in the living room, because that's how we rolled.
Right.
And I came out of my bedroom, a little teary. My dad asked me, "What did you think of it?" And I said, "I thought it was really good." And he asked my brother. My brother was like, "Eh." And my father said, and I quote, "That's because you have no soul." So that's a fond memory that I have from my childhood.
How do you perceive James Stewart in that movie?
Everybody remembers It's a Wonderful Life as being this feel-good, happy Christmas movie. First of all, it being set at Christmas is incidental. It doesn't really have a whole lot to do with it being Christmas.
Right.
It's one of the darker performances that he gave. The man is at the end of his rope, ready to kill himself, and he's just cynical and angry and done with the world and yelling at his kids. It's like,
that's the thing that makes it such a good performance, because around the holidays there's a lot of people who can understand that feeling, and that's something that is not addressed enough. It's something that is relatable, and that's what makes it such a beautiful and tragic performance.
Yeah, it taps into that sort of like you were saying, everybody's happy, cheery, peppy. Oh, it's Christmas, and there are people who are just like, my life sucks, and I just feel like I'm having this rubbed in my face that everybody else is happy right now. And for a movie made in, I think, 1947, the fact that it does address those kind of issues, I always thought was really an impressive feat for that time.
Right.
So,
well, and around that time, you know, they were making movies that were supposed to be, you know, relatively, you know, more upbeat, unless it was supposed to be, you know, a thriller, you know, which, or like a detective type movie, because they had just got done, you know, with the war, and they didn't want to focus on anything that was rough.
right.
And, you know, for something to come out that was focusing on such tough feelings, I'm sure people weren't expecting it. And, you know, looking at it today, I'm sure people still would be shocked by it. You know, because even today, you know, I'm toxic masculinity, or even, you know, no offense, even females, females tend to be more emotional, but you know, we don't look at enough or appreciate enough of being able to be vulnerable, because people still joke or make fun of being able to be emotional. Like, we'll look at movies or shows, and we'll see memes, we'll see Reddit posts about, oh, haha, this actor performed this so stupidly, or whatever. And then you'll have the flip side of being like, well, we should be more appreciative, or whatever. So it's still clashing on, you know, emotions. And, you know, the human identity, you know, we should be okay to show emotions.
Yes.
So I think It's a Wonderful Life, you know, did a good job of, hey, you know, he should express how he felt. Granted, he shouldn't have been yelling at his kids, but
haven't we all been there?
yeah. But, you know, it's, as adults, where do we go to? Who do we talk to when we have those feelings? Sometimes we don't even feel like we have anyone, even if we're married, you know, because sometimes it's hard to talk to that person because we don't want to put that on them, but then we get to that point of it just lashes out. And that's hard.
Yeah. So what is your number 2?
So is this a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie? Can you guess? The Nightmare Before Christmas. So, you know, I've mentioned it before. I was severely judged growing up for liking this movie. But I like this movie because you can watch it, you know, either holiday. You know, and I just thought it was different, and it touched base on, you know, Jack Skellington wanting to do something different. Granted, he shouldn't have stolen another, you know, individual's holiday.
Wouldn't have gotten away with it if it was Hanukkah.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't have. But, you know, it's touching on another subject of an individual feeling depressed or feeling pressured into doing something, you know, over and over again and having to be perfect. And at the time, I felt that, you know, because of the fact of, you know, being involved in a family of trying to be, you know, of their expectations. And, you know, I still feel that on some sort of level, you know, because in the movie, he wants to branch out. He wants to try to do something different, but he doesn't know how to, you know, express himself. And he goes about it all wrong. You know, and on some sort of level, he's human.
Yes. Well, possibly literally, because he does make references to being dead several times, so I assume he was a person at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And, even when, Sally is introduced, she's trying to escape too. She's trying to express herself. She's trying to become, her own individual. And I felt that too.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're becoming a teenager or even as a young adult, you're trying to find yourself. And I felt like, even though they're dead or whatever, they were still trying to find themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And even around Christmas time, you're trying to figure out who you are, because when you're rushing to, please everyone at Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
you still fall flat on your face somehow. You aren't going to make everyone happy. And, on some sort of level, I feel like The Nightmare Before Christmas does that, because he fails utterly terribly. And that's why I feel like it's a Christmas movie too. It just is. And obviously, The Nightmare Before Christmas is a Halloween movie because it is a nightmare.
Mm.
But it's a Christmas movie too because, Santa. And
Yes.
them trying to have their own spin on Christmas.
And it is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And I used to take my youngest to go see it every Halloween at the El Capitan Theater in Hollywood. I wanted to say Halloween. And yes, it's one that I watch every single year. I watched it again this year on the big screen.
Mm-hmm.
I think anybody can relate to that feeling of just being in a rut and you just want something different and new in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And it might take falling on your face to make you realize and appreciate what you had.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, I gave you shit for it, but I absolutely concur that this can be viewed as a Christmas movie because it does have a Christmas message to it of, being with the people that you love and appreciating what you have.
Well, and the best part too is that Santa Claus gives them snow at the end of the movie, and Sally and Jack end up together. So,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and another thing too, Disney Plus puts it as one of their Christmas movies during Christmas. So
We can't argue with Disney Plus.
no, can't. I may not be the biggest fan of Disney or their prices annually, but you know what? I have to pay for it because my kids apparently need Disney.
Mm-hmm. What kid doesn't?
I mean, honestly, there's a lot of classic movies on Disney Plus, so I really shouldn't be complaining.
Mm-hmm.
Like the original, like Robin Hood animated movie, and that was like my first introduction to Robin Hood, and I say that Robin Hood's like my original love, so I can't. Not that
That's
he's
for the furries out there.
no, not that he's a fox, just the idea that he's a good person. I'm not a furry.